Hi, I'm Mark Mifflin. I'm a member of the Legislative Committee of the Illinois Defense Council. I'm here with a report. This is May 23rd of 2018. It's the last week of the spring session of the General Assembly. The spring session is intended or is planned to end on May 31st, and there's a lot of activity right now. We have been following many bills through the spring session, and that number is dwindling down because of the deadlines that have not been met by some of the bills. But there are several things still pending that I'd like to go over with you. But first, let me give you the lay of the land. Right now, the focus is on the budget and budgetary matters, because those should be resolved by the end of May before the legislature goes home for the summer, or an overtime session is required. And if an overtime session is required, it takes 3/5 majority to pass a budget after May 31st, because the Constitution provides any bill with an immediate effective date has to have a 3/5 majority to pass after that date. So there's a lot of activity to plan for the budget. My belief is that perhaps the Democrats in the House and the Senate that control both the House and the Senate will pass a budget on their own without Governor Rauner's input, and will then go home or hang here for a day and see if Governor Rauner vetoes it or signs it or takes some action. He can do a line item veto or a line item reduction veto. So there's a lot of activity that will come up with reference to the budget, and that's been the focus right now. During this last week, though, there are several issues that we are still watching. There's a lot of activity with reference to workers' compensation, so all the IDC members that are involved in workers' compensation should be aware of these issues. One issue is that there's still a bill out there that's pending and proceeding that would require the state to spend $10 million or maybe $20 million to start a new workers' comp insurance company. It's been referred to as a state fund, like some other states, and that's not really true. It's just a subsidy for a new company that will compete with the existing companies. The argument is that that will cause greater competition and will reduce the rates across the board. There's already over 230 insurers writing work comp in Illinois, so I'm not sure that that's going to work. But that bill is House Bill 4595 if you want to look at the specifics of that. There's another bill, Senate Bill 2863, which includes some substantive work comp provisions, kind of as an enticement for the business community and the insurance industry. But mostly what it is an insurance industry rate regulation bill. That bill is still out there, still pending, and may well go on its own too. The last issue is Senate Bill 904, and this deals with prompt payment of doctors' bills in the work comp process. The docs have a bill that would require a 2% per month interest penalty for companies that don't pay bills that have been properly submitted. Of course, the issue is, what does properly submitted mean? But that bill is still pending. In fact, it's up for a hearing this morning in the legislature. So those are the three issues. They could be combined together. They could be move independently. One or two of those could go without the other, or anything could happen with reference to those bills. But those are the three issues which are alive, which I think there will probably be some activity on one or more of those issues. So work comp is still very active. The other issue, there's two other bills that are moving that we've been following. One is House Bill 5553, dealing with blockchain technology. There's a bill to let the state regulate that. It was to preclude home rule units, but now that amendment has been made that the home rule units will still be able to control blockchain technology in their own area. But that's a regulatory bill for blockchain technology, which will likely pass, I think. And then Senate Bill 2644 deals with administrative proceedings. This is just a procedural bill to allow service by email during the course of administrative proceedings. So that's the legislation that's out there pending. That's legislation we're watching and working on this week. I should make one more comment about the work comp bills. Whatever the legislature does with those bills, and they may well do something like I said with all three of them, the governor would probably veto one or more of those bills too. So I just mentioned that to you. So if they do pass the legislature has 30 days to send them to the governor, and then the governor has 60 days to act on them too. And then if there is a veto of any kind, they'll come back up in the veto session, which will be after the November election, when Governor Rauner could be a lame duck. So I just want to remind you that nothing's final just because the legislature acts with that. One other area I want to point out that the Legislative Committee has been following and the entire IDC has been following is that the American Law Institute has adopted the Restatement of the Law Liability Insurance, which was objectionable to the Illinois Defense Council. They weighed in opposition to that, as well as DRI and many of the business groups and insurance companies. The bill is a wish list for the authors as to how they think the law should be rather than a restatement of the existing law in the United States. So I just mentioned that to you. It's been out. There are emails going out about that from Sandra Wolf at IDC, so to give you a little bit better flavor for that. And I'm sure that there will be articles now published in the Quarterly and in other publications about that. But that could be a big deal depending on how the courts treat the ALI restatement. So that's all we've got. The bills are listed on the website for the Illinois Defense Council under the advocacy section. If you have any questions, let us know, or you can follow those up, and it'll be updated again after the May 31st deadline. Presumably they'll be going home, at least for the substantive issues at that time. Thank you very much.